Chair recognizes Ms. Collier.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Uh, Members, what this amendment does, it would amend section 1373.002, subsection C, to only include care provided in Texas. So right now, the concern is that people would move here and try to attempt to get care, detransitioning care, because we are mandating it under this bill. And if that's the case, then you could, I mean, we do have a lot of people moving to Texas, but not for this reason. And so if the person moves to Texas and that insurance carrier that they have does provide this coverage, then they would be required to cover them for the detransitioning care, and that could increase costs. And of course, we know how that works. It would be spread across the board, and we all would be required to cover that. So the concern is, since we did find out and confirm that insurance companies would have to cover detransitioning care, regardless if they paid for the transitioning care. If they offer transitioning care, they would be required to cover detransitioning care. And so if somebody moves here, or if somebody goes out of state and they have that coverage, then the state of Texas, these covered insurance carriers are going to be required to cover it. And that's going to increase premiums for all of us. And again, the adequate network, concerned about finding providers in other states. If somebody moves to a state that is, say, for instance, Wyoming, where it may be more rural, but that insurance company here would be required to cover detransitioning care for that person because they're out of state. Maybe they're traveling, and if they want the care there, then the insurance company would be required to cover it there. So this bill would say, or this amendment rather, just says that the insurance carrier only has to cover care in Texas, which is where this mandate is coming from. And with that,
Mr.
Mr. Speaker,
Purpose?
does the gentlelady yield for some questions?
Generally yield for questions?
yes.
She yields for questions.
Thank you. Representative Collier, thank you so much for mentioning this. As we know, over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of Texans that have had to travel out of state for health care and move and whatnot to make sure that their coverage is being handled. What kind of an impact do you think that this is going to have on Texans' insurance premiums?
Well, that's a very great question, and it's very concerning for all of us. We've seen this happen for those who live in coastal areas where they have flooding, when there's a hurricane. And as all Texans, we're expected to share in the expense and help cover the high cost of providing that coverage. Even the state of Texas does that with the windstorm coverage. So in this particular case, for this bill, if they have detransitioning care that is going to have to be provided, insurance companies are going to have to scramble to find providers, negotiate contracts, which may not be negotiable because they may be very high cost, and then also they'll have to find providers out of state. If they are required, if the person's traveling and they decide that they want to stay a couple of weeks and months in Wyoming or another state, that insurance company is going to be required to cover that cost because the mandate says they have to provide detransitioning care. And, what detransitioning care means is up to interpretation. So it could be as little as, I heard the comment about hair loss or hair treatment, or it could be a full surgical procedure. And these insurance companies are going to be, and I'm not here trying to defend these insurance companies, but what I'm saying is it's going to be expensive, and this cost is going to be something that we're all going to be required to pick up.
Thank you, Representative. This is a good amendment. Thank you.
And thank you. And members, I want you to know, I did speak with Chair Leach about my amendment before, and I know he's going to oppose it, but I do appreciate him actually listening because he heard me out. And I do appreciate that. And that was important that he heard me out on my concerns about this bill, and I appreciate his thoughtful consideration because I truly do believe he gave it thoughtful consideration. But nevertheless, I still would like to present this amendment, and I ask that you vote in favor. So I move adoption.
Mr. Leach, in opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have great respect for my friend and classmate, Representative Collier, but I'm going to have to oppose this amendment. As I said, I want to try to really stay laser focused on what this bill does and not complicate it, because it truly is very, very simple. And this bill does complicate it in a way that's not necessary. And frankly, I think, again, with all due respect, not relevant to the bill. And so I'm going to ask that you stick with me and oppose the amendment.
Ms. Collier, in opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and Chairman. I do believe it is relevant because these are costs and services that are mandated to be covered under this bill. And so one way that we can reduce costs and save taxpayers money is by limiting the location of services to Texas. And with that, I move adoption.
Ms. Collier sends an amendment. Mr. Leach is in opposition. It's a record vote. Clerk, ring the bell. Show Mr. Leach voting nay, Ms. Collier voting aye, Mr. Alverson voting nay, Ms. Hinojosa voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 45 ayes and 79 nays, the amendment fails to adopt.